Hi, my name is Cameron Randall, and I'm a doctoral student in the Higher Ed Leadership Program at Clark Atlanta University and an inaugural John Robert Lewis Fellow through the Faith and Politics Institute. I chose to do my oral history presentation on President Rufus Early Clement because of his rich legacy and leadership of our historically led colleges and universities. President Clement was born in 1900 in Salisbury, North Carolina, and was the longest serving president of Atlanta University. Atlanta University was founded in 1865 and was the first graduate degree granting institution for African Americans.
Well, may I ask you, gentlemen, what is going to happen to your Negro universities? They're private universities, aren't they?
They're all private. The 31 colleges in the United Negro College Fund are private. We started the fund, as you probably know, about 11 years ago in order to meet the needs of these private institutions for current operating expenses. Like all other private colleges, while we've just had a difficult time getting enough money to keep our work at high level. All of these colleges are fully accredited. These students will be in school, Negro and other students in school in America. We think and we know that these colleges, along with the other good colleges in the nation, will be needed to educate the young people who will want college and professional education in the years ahead of us.
Well, nevertheless, Dr. Clement, won't the economic forces make the Negro student rush to the state universities if they are non-racial after the decision really takes effect?
Some of them will go and some of them ought to go. The private college is a sort of balance in a democracy, Mr. Lesueur. There are a good many things that we can do. There are certain freedoms that we have that no state colleges, white or Negro, north or south, can have. And just as you need Harvard, I think you'll need Fisk. Or just as you will need the University of Chicago, I think you'll need Lincoln or Atlanta University or Morehouse or some of the others. But actually, we will need to exist, and we will find monies from people, endowments, gifts, and friends who believe in private education. And that's one of the things we've been doing here in New York, interesting people in the continuation of good private colleges so that we can act still as a balance in an American democracy for educational purposes for all these people.
I'm Dr. J. Fidel Turner, and I'm Dean of the School of Education. I'm also an alum of Clark Atlanta University. I received my doctorate from Clark Atlanta University in 1993. So it's my pleasure to be able to spend this time with you today.
Well, may I ask you, are you people troubled by the nationwide shortage of teachers which exists in all institutions? Do the people who go to your universities become teachers, or are they driven out of the profession too by the low wages offered to teachers?
No, you perhaps don't understand this, Mr. Lesueur, but actually in the South, and 70% of the Negroes possibly in America still live in the South, education offers perhaps the surest economic base for a Negro family. Negroes don't go, they are not yet accepted in large numbers in industry, in business, in the ordinary daily occupations in which the average boy or girl in the South earns his livelihood, so that in the teaching profession you have a larger number of Negroes entering than you do into industry or business, and the white boy would largely go into industry or business. Actually, in our own situation there in Atlanta, I suppose 50% of our students go into education in some phase or form of it.
Can you speak about President Clement's legacy and impact on the city of Atlanta?
Well, yes, I have the honor of serving as the dean. The School of Education is named in his honor. Our building is entitled the Rufus C. Clement Hall.
Yes.
And it was named in his honor partly because he was the longest serving president of Atlanta University. He served for 30 years as president of Atlanta University. But the building was not named solely because he was the president, the longest serving president of Atlanta University. The building was named in his honor because of his commitment and dedication to education, particularly at the P-12 level. Dr. Clement was also the first African-American member of the Atlanta School Board. And so he has a rich legacy and history of being concerned about education at that level as well as at the graduate level. As you know, Atlanta University, since its inception, was a graduate school. It's, And once again, he served his 30 years of Atlanta, of, 30 years of serving as the dean of Atlanta University. And so he has a rich legacy and history of being concerned about education at that level as well as at the graduate level. As you know, Atlanta University, since its inception, was a graduate school. And once again, he served his 30 years of Atlanta as president of Atlanta University.
I'd like to ask you this question. This may seem far afield from education, but it seems to me that this country has a tremendous problem right now with Asia. Do you think that the American Negro could be at all helpful in increasing our alliance potential with Africa or Asia?
I'm quite sure of that, Mr. LeSure, and I know that even recently I've heard members, high-ranking officials in the State Department say that they want and need the services of intelligent American Negroes who will interpret American democracy and American goals and aims to the darker peoples of the world, the 800 million more or less uncommitted peoples of Africa and Asia. The communists are trying to get them. We want them on our side, and possibly the whole future of the world depends on which way this uncommitted bloc swings. Now, these darker peoples of Africa and Asia will listen to American Negroes. They feel freer in talking with them. And the State Department right now feels that they ought to get, and they're trying to get, many more of these American Negroes to work in official positions with the American government. I think you ought to know also that places like Lincoln and Atlanta and Fisk and others are training many foreign students, both from Asia and from Africa. And as these students see American democracy and see it actually lived on the campuses of these colleges for Negroes, presently for Negroes, they go back to their own countries and say that America is a place which does try to do what the Constitution and what the Declaration of Independence and these other things say America stands for.
Can you speak to the accomplishments and tenure of President Clement at Atlanta University?
Well, a lot of initiatives took place during that 30-year period. And so during his time as president, of course, the School of Education expanded from offering master's degrees to doctoral degrees in various areas to include educational leadership. We had one of the first and only counselor education programs at an HBCU. And so a lot of leaders that are in the P-12 space even today are graduates from that time that he was a leader at Atlanta University. And so his legacy lives on even now. If you walk around Atlanta and see the names of some of the schools, high schools, elementary, middle schools, a lot of them are named in honor of Atlanta University graduates that were students during his era as president of Atlanta University. And so it's such a rich history, such a rich legacy that our students need to know and understand when they walk into our campus. They're following in the footsteps of giants, of trailblazers who made a difference, and they have a responsibility as well to make a difference.